Coming up on Mountain News this morning, there was a police chase over the weekend that eventually led to an officer-involved shooting. And vaping has become an issue for many young adults across the nation, but Kentucky is being hit harder than most.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 6 a.m. on Tuesday, February 6th. Now let's check in with meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
And a Tuesday that will be bright, maybe a little bit more regarding some cloud cover and a little bit cooler, but still for early February, this is going to be feeling pretty darn good today. I know, you want what we had yesterday, right? Lower 30s outside our door here at WYMT. Check out the headlines as we rock and roll through today and the next few days. The gorgeous weather does continue. Don't worry, we'll get back closer to 60 again. Average is 46 and we'll be running milder the rest of the week into the weekend still. And the pattern change still in the offing. Time now for the weekend. Temperatures for the most part in the low and mid 30s, minus Middlesboro, Manchester, and Grundy, as well as Ashland. Ashland specifically at 28. Satellite radar composite. Some clouds trying to come in from the north and west. It's the reason why as we head through today, you check out the planner as we go from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We'll call it mostly sunny on a forecast high today in Hazard up to 51. More about the first alert 7-day forecast. I already gave a little bit away. But you know what? Got one day, all of us in the 60s. When is it? We'll let you know coming up in just a few moments. Right now, back to the news desk with Olivia.
All right, Tim, thank you. And we do have some sad news to share with you this morning. Country music star Toby Keith died Monday, according to a post on his official website. The singer was 62 years old. His family says he died peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by family. The singer opened up about his battle with stomach cancer in 2022. He was diagnosed the year prior. Kentucky State Police are investigating an officer-involved shooting that began with a car chase. The shooting happened on Brannon Mill Road in Laurel County. Aline Sizemore, who lives on the road, says the shooting happened in her front yard. Sizemore says the incident scared her and her animals.
Our inside cat that comes in and out jumped against the front door, and I said, what in the world? And about that time it jumped up like it was trying to come through that door, so I let her in. She was terrified.
Sizemore says police remained at the scene for several hours. The suspect was taken to the hospital. Their name and condition was not released. Police said charges are pending until he is released from the hospital. A man who once pleaded guilty in a 2014 DUI crash that killed 4 people is in trouble with the law again. Hazard police arrested Shan Harden after a traffic stop. They say he had a suspended license and a warrant for his arrest. Police found money, suspected drugs, paraphernalia, and a gun in his car. He was taken to the Kentucky River Regional Jail. WYMT archives from 2015 show Harden was sentenced to 13 years in prison on 4 counts of second-degree manslaughter and an assault charge after the Breathitt County crash that killed 4 young men. We reported at the time he would have been eligible for parole in 2017. One person is dead after a crash in Knott County. It happened around 4 yesterday afternoon. State police say it involved a motorcycle and another vehicle. Police have not released the name of the person who died or any other information yet. Elkhorn City is working to find funding after the council realized a host of ongoing financial fumbles on the books, from payroll checks bouncing to more than $100,000 in pension funds never seeing the correct amount. City officials say there have been a massive oversight within City Hall. With no audits done since 2019, Mayor Mike Taylor says the current council has not even been able to create a working budget, but has been under the impression everything was fine until a former employee was unable to pull from his retirement fund.
We get financial reports every month to vote on. They do. I don't vote on them. And it says what's there, so you pass what's there. and sometimes that ain't being, it's not there. And that's an issue.
The former city clerk has been replaced, and the state is auditing the city to help officials get an idea of the current situation. Last night, the city wrapped up a community meeting to address the issues. Through the years, vaping has grown in popularity, especially among our youth. A recent study found that Kentucky comes second only to Tennessee for e-cigarette use. Mariah Congito breaks down the study and talks with an expert about the effects of vaping.
We have some of the weaker tobacco control laws. We have some of the lower tobacco product pricing. We have a lot of availability of these products.
Melinda Ickes is a professor in health promotion at the University of Kentucky. She says these are all factors that contribute to use among adults and youth in Kentucky.
Unfortunately, Kentucky has led the way in tobacco use and lung cancer for quite some years. And with e-cigarette use, we know that around 20% of Kentucky high school students are currently reporting e-cigarette use.
According to a study done by Forbes, Kentucky ranked #2 in the country for an increase in vaping over the past 6 years. Kentucky also tied for first with Oklahoma as the state with the highest amount of adults who vape every day.
We've seen a lot of health risks and complications with some of the chemicals found in e-cigarettes and vapes. And those could be things like making it difficult to breathe. You know, there's also a lot of nicotine in these products. And so then that has its own set of health effects.
Ickes says when vapes came on the market, the idea was for them to be used by adults as an alternative to cigarettes. She says they were never intended to be used by young people as a tobacco cessation device.
Many of them are turning to these products as a coping mechanism, you know, because they might not have another outlet.
Ickes says the risk for dependence is very high.
Some of the research is showing us those who become dependent on e-cigarettes and have never tried another tobacco product are more likely to switch to other combustible tobacco products like cigarettes.
Luckily, Ickes says there are a lot of state coordinated efforts going on, like #ICanEndTheTrend and a high school youth advisory board made up of change makers who want to see something different for their future.
We need to use the evidence-based practices that are working in other states. You know, many are putting more funding into prevention and treatment. And the more that we build on lessons learned with other states that are seeing success, the better success that we'll have here in Kentucky.
Mariah Congito, WKYT.
The Forbes study says people use regular cigarette products more often than vaping devices. Paleontologists at Mammoth Cave National Park revealed 2 fossilized shark species that are new to science. Both species lived around 340 million years ago when Kentucky was still a tropical sea. With the help of the nation's leading paleontologists, more and more fossils within the cave system have been identified in recent years. And researchers expect that even more are on the way.
Before 4 or 5 years ago, we had absolutely no idea that we had all of these exciting sharks and that so many new to science, and that Mammoth Cave would be able to be one of the most important shark localities from, about 340 million years ago.
More than 70 ancient fish and shark species have been discovered within the park, and more are still under review.
And a good Tuesday morning to you as we check out the web cameras early this morning. Waiting for that sun to rise. Question is, will it be as brilliant and robust as what we saw yesterday morning? We'll find out probably in about a half hour to 40 minutes. Outside our studios here at WYMT, it's looking nice. Sparkling skies. Some clouds are coming in from the north and west though. And it's 32, last check, here in Hazard. Also up at Jackson, lower 30s at Moorhead as well as Irvin. Hello, Monticello. Down in Wayne County, mid 30s, and we're in the upper 20s right now at Middlesboro. Satellite Vertical composite showing those clouds trying to come in from the north and west. Don't worry. Yeah, a few degrees cooler than yesterday. But nonetheless, we'll see a nice amount of sunshine as the clouds will continue to swing on through and high pressure continues to build on in into central, southern, and eastern Kentucky. All right, a little cooler today. When can we get back close to 60? We'll let you know. Your first alert Saturday forecast coming up in just a few moments. Olivia?
Thank you, Tim, and thanks for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, Britain's King Charles has received a cancerous diagnosis, but the royal family isn't saying what kind just yet.